course of the pre-course for Mac users. As you can see, I have a Mac. Okay, also Windows user can watch it if you want, however some things will be slightly different. Okay, we start first of all with teaching you where is the support system in this university. As many other big organizations, whenever you have a technical problem or even a logistic problem such as a broken chair, a Windows which doesn't close or whatever, or the printer without paper, you don't pick up the phone and call somebody or go with your walk up to some office, but you simply use a ticketing system which can keep track of all the interventions required. So the ticket system works via web. The address is support.unibz.it. Okay. Here you will be asked to enter your cockpit with your login and password because only internal user can ask for interventions. Okay, here you have to select the queue. If you have any computer problem, it's ICT. Okay, if you have any other kind of problem, for example, the printer without paper is something which the student could handle themselves, or a broken chair, or a door which doesn't open, facility management BZ. Okay, you can write just quickly the subject, printer, and you specify where, otherwise they won't find it anymore, or the number of the printer, without paper, and then you briefly describe the problem. Good morning, printer in room A518 is without paper. Thank you. You press save. The file you will receive an email of confirmation. If they need other information, they will start exchanging emails with you, and they will hopefully solve the problem remotely in this way. So this is the system which can help you solving all your technical issues with computer, but also some practical problems that you have here. And it's a very same system used by several other organizations, big organizations, in which it's not feasible that people call at the telephone or just walk in and start telling problems. This system tracks down completely each problem from the beginning up to the end. Okay. Now let's go to the slides themselves. Okay. Even though it's I'm working on a Mac, the slides are designed for Windows, or better, the course is designed for Windows, because honestly Windows is the most widespread operating system. And the difference with respect to Mac is that while the Mac tends to remain rather more or less the same, Windows from version to version sometimes change radically. In fact, as you can see, when Windows 8 appeared in 2013, it was not appreciated at all for its horrible interface, which was designed for working with touch tablets and which was not well suited for a desktop application, as many people working in office were doing instead. In fact, currently it's installed only on 12% of the computers. Many computers still have the previous version, Windows 7. It lasted between 2013 and 2015. If you have installed, you probably have Windows 8.1. And at the university computers, we had installed Enterprise Edition. Still, some of them have the Enterprise Edition. Now it's slowly being replaced. It came with 3 editions. Windows 8 was the very basic, typically acquired by home users, then Windows 8 Pro, and Windows 8 Enterprise with all the features needed by an enterprise. Oops. The current, at least in 2017, when I'm producing this video, version of Windows, it's Windows 10. It started in 2015. Microsoft made a heavy advertisement program to push all the people who had Windows 8 to move to Windows 10. Honestly, it's basically Windows 8.1, at least from the user experience. There is nothing new. It carries all the horrible interface, but there is at least several ways to work around. It's installed on 29% of computers. I got the information from here. Let's see. Okay, 29, at least in October 2017. Can you see Windows 7 still holds 47%? The edition that is installed on university computer is the enterprise edition, which is the same as the education edition. There is no difference. The instructions remain the same. Windows 10 Home, designed for home users, Pro for professional users, which has some extra features, and Windows 10 Enterprise has some other extra feature. For example, probably, but I'm not sure, Windows 10 doesn't have the file permissions because it's designed to have only one user. Okay. Now now there's the slides on regional language settings. Obviously, since we are working on the Mac, this is the video for Mac, we won't do it for Windows 8.1 and 10. I don't have it here. We'll do it only for Mac. Okay? So, whenever you have to change, there are some settings of the operating system which let you change the regional and language settings. Some of them are very important because, as you probably know, in America, people use the point to separate the decimal digits, while in continental Europe, in particular in continental Europe, everybody uses the comma to separate the decimal digits. And what is tragic is that vice versa, to separate the thousand, in America they use the comma, and in continental Europe the dot. This may create a lot of confusion, especially when you have to import text files, which may be in the American format, but if you have the European format, all the decimal digits will be screwed up. So it's important to know where to set this thing. On the Mac, System Preference, Language Region, Advanced. So, where are the System Preferences? I have them here. If you want, you can search for them in the app and application. System Preference. Where is it? Language and Region. Where is the Advanced? Advanced. Okay, here you can choose the grouping symbol and the decimal symbol. Currently on my Mac it's set to dot the grouping symbol and to comma decimal symbol, so I have the European system. Okay, if you want you can change it, switch to the American system. Here you can change also a lot of other things, how dates are displayed, etc, etc, but these are not so relevant as the other one. This is really very crucial sometimes. Okay, now cancel, and I close here. Let me resume. Okay, then there is another issue on keyboards. If you are using your own Mac, luckily for you, you won't have this issue, so we skip it completely. If you are planning to use the university computers, please take care of this issue, because sometimes your keyboard can be switched suddenly. Okay. When the computer locks. Sometimes your computer unpredictably locks. I have to admit that the Mac locks much less than Windows, but still locks. So sometimes the program locks, they're stuck, they don't go on. You say bad words, especially if it happens during the exam. Can you see here the warning written in red at the end? You will lose your unsaved work. Whatever of these things you do, so these are not really solutions, are workarounds, but you will lose your unsaved work. So if you have not saved, too bad for you. I'm sorry. So please save, 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 save. And take care that these are only workaround. So for example, let's see. First thing first, what you should do is trying to kill the application which is locked. Suppose now this one is locked. This application is not locked, but suppose it's locked. Okay. In order to shut it down on the Mac, I can press the Command key. The Command key is the old Apple key. Now there is no more an Apple symbol on it, but there is a strange symbol with 4 circles and a square at the center with Q. Well, I don't press it now because it will shut down immediately this application. So let's try to start another application. For example, I start Excel. Come on. Hurry up. Okay, suppose now my application is not responding. I press Command Q, shut down. Okay. The other alternative, which is equivalent to the Windows Control Shift ESC, is Command Alt ESC. Command Alt ESC. Okay. Which will open this one, which forces the quit of applications. Okay. Now I don't want to force quit the application for anything. Open. Okay. Finally, Command Control Alt Power it's the alternative to the Windows Control Alt Del and choose shutdown. Pay attention on the Mac, it will immediately shut down everything. So it shuts down your computer. Okay. If nothing works, usually on many computers, if you keep the power button pressed for a long time, and the same thing works also on your smartphone, it will shut down anyway. So these are the way to solve up yourself. Okay. I tell it to you because it happens during the exam in particular that you have to shut down your computer. I will give you extra time, but I will strongly appreciate if you are able to do it yourself and not ask me for it. Okay, file types. We will now talk briefly about file types. Windows and or other operating systems which didn't do this were forced to do it, identifies file types through the extensions. Originally, the Mac did not identify file types through the extension, but later it was forced to do it because Windows were the majority of computers use Windows, and so the majority of files around were produced by Windows computers. Okay, unfortunately, both the Mac as well as Windows have this horrible default feature activated that hides the extensions. So you don't see the extensions, which is very annoying when sometimes you have to clearly distinguish what is the exact extension of a file. And as we have seen during the network part of the course on networks, can also open the door to some viruses such as the terrible CryptoLocker. So let's see how on the Mac activate this extension. Finder, Preferences, Advanced, Show all file name extensions. So the Finder, Preferences, Advanced. Can you see, to me it's already flagged, Show all file name extensions. So you should be able now to see the extension, like here you see it's PPTX, okay, and not simply Precourse. Okay. Now that you're able to see the extensions, we can start talking about file types. We distinguish, as we have already talked at the very first lesson, file types between programs and the rest data files. Programs are identified by the fact that when you double click on them, they run directly. So they don't need another program. You double click and the program runs itself. It's executed, or it goes into execution, it runs, it starts. Typical extensions for program are com, exe, but. Exe means executable, com means command, for example. There are obviously tons of other extensions for each of these types, however, we just go through the most famous ones. Okay, then we have the compressed files. Let's go through the data type. Data type have the feature that whenever you double click on them, they don't run, they don't do anything. They simply must call an appropriate program, which here is written between parentheses, which starts them. So by alone they cannot do anything. They need an appropriate program which starts them. Okay, for example, the compressed files, they are identified by the extension zip. Whenever you double click on them, well, usually on the Mac, it's the Mac operating system itself which opens the zip, or better, uncompresses the zip. Or if you have installed an appropriate program, it's Keka. Okay. On Windows, it's WinZip, 7-Zip, ZArc. There are thousands of other compression programs. TXT are text files. Okay. When you double click on them, it's Notepad on Windows which opens them. On the Mac, there is a similar text editor. DocX or Doc are the two typical Word extensions, the extension for Word documents. Also RTF, which means Rich Text Format. When you double click on them, it's Word which opens them. PDF, it's another famous extension for document. Typically, Acrobat Reader opens it, but lately also some browsers are able to open PDF, okay, or some special viewer. XLSX and XLS are the two famous extensions for Excel files. which when you double click on them, they are open with Excel. Okay, also CSV, it's another famous extension which corresponds to typical Excel files. JPEG, JPG, JPEG, GIF, bitmap, PNG are all typical image extension. Probably your mobile phone or your camera, if you still have one, produces JPG files. When you double click on them, it depends on which program you have installed. Each operating system has a standard, very basic previewer, but you may have Photoshop or very other programs installed. Same thing for movies. AVI is usually the most famous extension, even though the Mac with QuickTime records the videos in other formats. MOV, MPG, MPEG are other famous extensions. Also here it depends when you double click on them. They may open with several other movie player. MP3 and WAV are the two most famous audio extensions. Here's same thing. All the multimedia material has a huge set of programs which can open them, even though every operating system provides with a very basic multimedia viewer. Okay. And HTML and HTML are the famous extensions for web pages, which on Windows typically they open up with Explorer, but now there are several other browsers like Chrome or Firefox or Safari for the Mac. Okay, so there is a very important issue here. When you double click, remember, when you double click on programs, they run directly. When you double click on a file, it opens with something. Okay, it can open with the default program, or you can even sometimes choose with which to open it. Let's see, for example, here some examples. Here I have this PPTX. If I double click on it, well, it's already open here. It opens up with PowerPoint. Okay. However, I can right click and you see the Mac gives me the possibility to open with. I can try to open it with Preview, okay, or with Archive Utility, which will be very strange. Okay. Or I can choose Other and decide another application to open it. Here the Finder lets me choose this application. Okay. Clearly no other application is appropriate. Maybe Word. Okay. And I can flag here always open with, such as it will remember that, or not flag it. Let's try to open it with Word. I won't never flag this one, obviously. I'm opening a PowerPoint with Word. Let's see. Nothing happens. In fact, the file cannot be open. No, I don't want to do anything, please. Okay, so each data file gives you the possibility also to open with, remember it, because sometimes the right program is not associated well, okay, and you have to choose open with and open it with something else. And now we go through a very boring, and I thus go rather quickly, topic on how to copy, move, rename, delete, and create shortcuts, which is something which I imagine everybody which shows up at university already is proficient with, but you never say, you never know, and so let's go through them. Okay, here I write always Windows, but there is, if the Mac behaves differently, there is always written what the Mac does. Okay, so first thing first, finding a file. Okay, well, here there is a little exercise for Windows. Okay. Also the Mac uses the same system, even though I have to admit the Mac tries to hide the system as much as possible. Windows uses a system which is pretty straightforward. Name of the disk, which is usually letters followed by a colon, typically C is the traditional one, slash directory, which is a sort of container, slash another directory inside, another directory inside, another directory inside, until you arrive at the name of the file. And this is called absolute path of a file. Okay? The very, very same system is used by the Mac, okay? But the Mac tries to hide it. Let's see if we can discover it somehow. No, it really tries to hide it very well. Let's go to my computer, desktop, all my files. No, my home. Now, can I go to this computer? Finder. File, go. All my file, computer. Okay, so I start from the very beginning. The Macintosh hard disk is the disk. Okay. Then I have users, Paolo, for example, UniBZ, lectures. Okay. Can you see? The system is the same, but the Mac is not displaying to me all the path of the file. Let's see whether with get info I can get the path. Yes, the path is very well hidden here, because it's the same as the Windows system. Macintosh HD, users, Paolo, UniBZ, lectures. This is the path. Okay. Well, it's very useful to uniquely locate a file, okay, in your mess. Sometimes you can obviously search the file, but it will be very difficult if you have several files with similar names, if you have a lot of files, if you are not sure about the exact name. Locating it in this way, it's much easier. Okay. Unfortunately, the Mac doesn't give you a good way. Let's see whether I can go to folder. Yes, also the Mac gives the possibility to enter a specific path. Can you see? Okay. The difference is that the Mac uses the slashes in the other way. So doesn't use the slash in this way here. Uses the slash in this way here. And starts with slash. Okay, so slash is the local disk. Okay. I can jump here. Okay, if I choose go to folder, and for example, choose exams. Okay, and you see, I jump here. Okay, so the difference is that the Mac doesn't write the name of the disk and uses the slash in the other direction. Okay, oops. Let's go on. Ah, I started the wrong thing. Now something will happen here. Okay. Okay, here there is the little exercise on finding a file we have already done on the Mac, how to find a file. It's the Finder, just to review it. In the meantime, this program started, I have to quit it. Okay, in the Finder, go to folder. Okay, and you are able to find a file with a, okay. The network disks. The university uses some network disks. It's very important that you become proficient in reaching them. Okay. And on the Mac is slightly different, because while on Windows you digit this thing here, on the Mac you can see that digit the things here, which is similar but is less in the other direction, etc, etc. Let's see now how to reach them. So first thing first, make sure that you are connected on scientific network and not on OpenAir. Okay? Otherwise you won't be able to do it. If you are working from home, we will see it later. So once you are connected on scientific network, you go to Finder, connect to server, okay? And here you digit this thing here. You don't need to digit also courses, well, unless you want to go straight forward into the courses. You just need to digit SMB : / and the slashes, let's say, are the Mac type of slashes, not the backslashes as Windows. ubz01ft.unibz.it. Okay, let's try. I will just you can add plus to remember it for later. Now you click on connect. Okay. Well, now to me it asks me immediately where do I want to go, which of the directories do I want to go. I click cancel. Okay. But to you it will probably ask for username and password. Okay. It's important that your login is not just your university login, but you digit unibz.it / and the /, let's say in the Windows style, your login name. Okay, so don't just insert your login name, insert unibz.it / your login name, and then as password your password. And please flag remember my credential or something similar. I cannot show it to you because I have already entered. When you enter once, then it won't ask it to you ever again. Okay. So it's important that, how is written here, when asked for login name and password, enter unibz.it / your login name, not simply your login name. Okay. So on the Mac, make sure you are connected on Scientific Network. Finder, go connect to server, okay, and connect to either this one or even better, smb://. Okay. Okay. Now let's see what happens if you instead are home. First of all, let's see what we have inside these directories. So go connect to server. Okay, Cuscoletti. Well, in Cuscoletti, you find the files that I put here for the lesson. Very useful, I have to say, for you. Okay. In the directory courses, you find also exam Coletti. So in the same directory, you find also exam Coletti. Okay. In exam Coletti, you will find exam. Pay attention because exam Coletti is not in exams, but it's in courses. Exam Coletti. Now it's empty. Okay. You will find here a directory with your name, and there will be inside you the files that you need for the exam, and you have to copy them back here at the end of the exam. And you find also the Scratch Echo. The Scratch Echo is a Scratch directory on which you can write whatever you want. So here you can create any file, for example, new folder, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now I'm creating it, and this may seem obvious to you, but also you can create it. I asked the technician to build this Scratch directory, which everybody can do whatever, because so you can train in copying the files from your desktop to the network directory, which may seem a difficult easy operation, but some of you mysteriously have problems during the exam. Now I will delete this blah blah blah. Where is delete? Move to trash. Yes, delete. Okay. There is another place which may be interesting for you. Go connect to server, and it's the students. Unfortunately, I cannot enter students because I'm not a student. But you can. I have to enter profs. So I enter profs now. You will have to enter students. After entering students, try to enter user 2017-16, depending on what is your enrollment year, and then echo. Okay? And then try to find yourself. If you don't find yourself, try to change enrollment year. So because sometimes they make a mistake in your enrollment year. So take one before, one after, and or try to change instead of echo, take another faculty, because sometimes they put you into the wrong faculty. So the technicians sometimes create chaos here. Myself, I cannot show it to you because I'm not a user, so I cannot even enter there. I have to enter here user. Okay, and there is all the list of professors, and I can find myself with Precourse. It's the only one on which I can enter. Okay. This is the place where Windows stores all my files, and it's a place reserved for you. We'll talk about it later, however. Okay, let's see what can you do when you are connecting from home. Okay. When you're connecting from home, you cannot enter that kind of directory because you are an outside user, you are outside the local area network. So you need to use the VPN. What is the VPN? The VPN is this little small program called Cisco AnyConnect Secure Mobility Client, which lets you, given a password, connect as if you are sitting inside a university. Okay, let's see first of all how to get it. Where is it? The browser. Okay. You get it going to https://vpn-scientificnet.org, or maybe simply type in vpn.scientific. Okay, just type vpn.scientificnet.org. Okay, you go here, provide your username and password, press login. Okay, and here you go through the program which will try to install automatically this little program. 99% of the times it will not work. For Mac as well as for Windows. For this thing, there is no difference for both. Also, the Mac is better because the Mac tells you immediately that it doesn't work. For Windows, I had to. Okay, so don't even retry. Just download it from here. Okay, and run it. Okay. Once you run it, you will have it installed on your computer. Once it is installed, it's this one. Okay, just choose as server vpn.scientificnet.org, press connect. Now it's obviously pretty pointless because I am already inside, but let's use the VPN anyway. Provide your username and password. Okay. If it does not work, make sure you have digited the right password. If it does not work, instead of the username, provide unibz.it/ so something like this. And where is this slash? I don't have the slash on the Mac. Okay, the slash, I cannot produce it. Ooh, I cannot produce that kind of slash. I have to copy it from PowerPoint. Copy, a dirty trick. Here. Paste. Haha. Okay. If it doesn't work, try like this, but usually it should work. So, configure your system. Okay. Now I'm connected in VPN, so doesn't matter because I was at university anyway. But if I were at home now the system will consider me as if I was sitting inside the university and will allow me to reach the network directories. Now I disconnect because it's pretty pointless to use. Don't use the VPN if you don't need it, especially at home, because if you use the VPN, all the connection which exits from your computer goes to the university and then goes out. So it will be slower, obviously. So use it only if you really need to do it, otherwise there is no point in using it. So very simple here. Okay. Let's go here. Which directories can you find? As we have said, course colletti contains all the information on the courses, the files that we need. Exam colletti. Pay attention because exam colletti is not in exams, but it's in courses. Exam colletti contains information on the exam. So, sorry, not information, the files on the exam. Scratch echo is for you to train. And finally, there is this directory students, which I told you contains your files. You say, which files? Well, whenever you use Windows on a university computer, the files that you put on your desktop, on your documents, are stored here. But also, there is another situation in which the files are stored here that we'll see later. So it's important that you are able to reach this place, because sometimes you may have files stored here, or you may want to put files here from an external computer. Okay. Pay attention, however, that in this specific place, you have a space limit. It's 300 megabytes. So please check your space limit, right-click, get info. Okay. If you go above, you can run into problems. Okay, because using university computer can not work properly. If you use your own, you don't care about going above and running into problems, but it's always a good idea to keep this place below 300 megabytes. So don't store videos or things like that. Okay. And now we have to open a little talk about virtualization. We have already talked about virtualization in the other part of the course. As I told you, on university computer, Windows 10 is not really running on the computer, okay, because many of the computers are old, okay, and because there are really too many. So to make a centralized maintenance, which is much easier, and to also recycle old computers, several computers are running a virtualization program. So whenever you start them, you don't find Windows 10 really running on the computer, but you find a program which gives you the option to choose Linux, Windows 10, or single individual programs such as Excel, Word, Access. You choose whatever you want, and then the computer runs the program, but on another computer. So it's another computer which is really running Windows 10 for you, and not that computer on which you're sitting in front. That computer simply provides the screen, the keyboard, and a little, let's say, the user interface. Okay, all your configuration is on the server that we have seen here. So it's here. So this stores all your configuration. So if you make any configuration change to Windows, the Windows on the university computer, you will find that the very same configuration has been replicated whenever you log in on a different computer. The very same configuration change is there. So because the configuration is stored on a network disk. Desktop and documents are also stored on the network disk. Pay attention that there is a quota limit, usually 300 megabytes. Okay? And if you go over a quota, please delete the files. Okay? If you're planning to use your own computer, but want to use the university computer, so using your own computer as a terminal, well, maybe if you are using a Mac, because you don't have access, okay, or you really want to use Windows, okay, you can simply connect here, desktopscientificnet.org, let's see, desktopscientificnet.org, okay. VMware Horizon. You can choose the HTML access or install the client. Okay. Let's start with the HTML access. Obviously, login. It doesn't matter if you choose ERAC instead of UniBZ. This time you have to digit the at unibz.it. I don't understand why. Okay, this is the very same screen that you see whenever you switch a university computer on in any computer lab. As I told you, it gives you the possibility to start a Windows, which is not really starting on your computer now, but is starting on a very big supercomputer that the university owns, Linux, or some specific programs such as Access, Excel. Okay. So suppose now, since we are on a Mac, that you want to use only Access, so you can start Windows and then use Access, but you don't really need to do it. You can start only Access. So you will see that now Access will be running here on my browser. And this is called virtualization. Now I have a virtualized Windows with Access inside, which is running on a supercomputer, but is displayed on my screen. It takes a while because all the image has to go to a connection.